Hey guys, welcome to the Picks from the Sixth. This is Jose. This is my friend Paul. We're gonna talk about how
Round
Canada,
two.
No, hockey. Hockey. What happened, Paul?
Canada lost 2-0. They lost to a better team.
Okay. And
Tottenham.
yeah, we're going to Premier League now.
Tottenham won 3-0 versus Leeds. Arsenal won 4-0. Next game for Tottenham is Aston Villa. The next game for Arsenal is Crystal Palace.
Yes. And I think Arsenal will win that one. But-
I think they're tied.
Yeah. And then Aston Villa should be easy for Tottenham. But now we're going to NBA, guys. First two teams. Raptors, go ahead.
1-5. Tough week, but
Yeah.
they're gonna bounce back.
All right.
They're gonna grab player of the week. At least 30 plus points in 3 straight games. And Jose's players were Ingram and
For the Raptors, it was Van Fleet.
yeah.
And then the next opponents for the Raptors is Suns tonight and Thunder for the Pelicans tonight. Paul, you know what I'm gonna have to do? We're gonna have to have the recap and the picks
Alright.
because it's gonna be too much for me.
So what I'll do the recap of the previous NBA.
Okay. Is that the right one?
Yeah.
Okay. So Paul will do the recap.
Because at the rate Jose is going to turn into one of those munch games.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from December 29th
Yeah.
till January 6th. Nets versus Hawks, 145-141 by the Nets. Celtics Grizzlies, 126-107 Celtics. Heat beat the Bucks, 119-108.
Yeah. Just read it like that.
Lakers beat the Spurs 121-107. Mavs beat the Hornets 118-90.
Yeah. It's crazy recap.
No, Hornets won
Yeah.
over the Mavs. Clippers won over the Blazers 128-105. Pacers beat the Cavs 119-99. Bulls beat the Wizards 133-130. Magic beat the Las 76ers 116-92. Rockets won 122-119. Raptors beat the Knicks 183. Thunder lost 113-80 to host the Pelicans. And the Suns won 106-95.
We got a character.
Then the Heat lost to the Mavs 93-83. Hornets won lost to the Grizzlies 108-93, I think it is. And then the Celtics beat the Pistons 96-93, whatever Jose's value says.
Yeah. You got to take a deep breath. You see, you were making fun of me last week. You see, you're like keep going.
Okay, the Nets again. This is from the
No, because it's the whole week, so they do double home and all that stuff.
Nets lost to the Hawks 114-96. Wolves lost to the Wizards 130-109.
You gotta talk louder, because that guy's loud.
The Bucks won over the Bulls 126-96. Lakers won 109-106 over the Spurs. Clippers lost to 106-100 to the Jazz. Nuggets won 106-103. Warriors lost 123-98. Rockets won 102-94.
Keep going, Paul. We're almost there.
Magic won 108-99. Raptors lost. No, the Knicks lost to the Pacers 106-102.
Yep. It's a lot of close games and unexpected teams.
76ers beat the Hornets
Yep.
127-112.
Yep.
Raptors lost to the Pelicans 120-116. Hawks won 96-91.
Yep.
Pistons won 122-1 lost to the Celtics 122-120. Then the Lakers won 108-94. And then the Nets won 123-122. Wolves won 124-109, lost to the Nuggets. Spurs lost to the Jazz 130-109. Mavs lost to the Bulls 118-108. Clippers won 111-107.
This guy sounds like
Warriors won 137-102.
Yep. Keep going, Paul.
76ers won
You got
118-101.
this.
Magic won 103-83. Hawks won 113-108. The Heat won 118-90. The Raptors lost 126-114 to Celtics. Then the Pistons lost to the Bucks 125-115.
Yep.
Pacers lost 118
Yeah.
one over the Pelicans 118-116. Rockets won 113-100. Kings versus the Warriors. The Warriors won 132-106. And then the Jazz lost to the Nets 130-96. Lakers beat the Grizzlies 94-92.
All right, you're almost done, Paul.
Nuggets beat the Wolves 123-116. And the Clippers lost to the Spurs 116-113. And the Blazers lost 111-108.
All right, guys. So now I'm gonna do my pick for NBA. Here we go. So the first game is 76ers versus Wizards. We both picked 76ers. Then Cavs versus Magic. We both picked Magic. Then it was Rockets versus Pacers. We both picked Rockets. Then it was the Heat versus Celtics. I picked Celtics. Paul picked the Heat. Then it was the Hawks versus Hornets. We both picked Hawks. Then it was the Jazz versus Knicks. We both picked the Jazz. And then Thunder versus Pelicans. I picked Pelicans because that's my team. And Thunder was picked by Paul. Then it was the Bucks versus Pistons. We both picked Bucks. Then it was the Raptors versus the Suns. They're playing tonight. Paul picked the Raptors. I picked the Suns. Then it was the what's it called? The Bulls versus the Kings. Paul picked Bulls. I picked Kings. Then the Clippers versus the Warriors. We both picked the Clippers on that one. Then it was the Nets versus 76ers. I picked 76ers. Paul picked the Nets. Then the Grizzlies versus the Cavs. We both picked Grizzlies as well to win. Then it was the what's it called? The Wolves versus Blazers. Both of us picked the Blazers. Then the Mavericks versus the Nuggets. We both picked Mavericks. And then it was Spurs versus Lakers. We both picked Lakers. And then Suns versus Pistons. We both picked Suns. And Suns are actually playing really good early in the season. Now we're going to the whole page now. Here we go. So it's Thunder versus Knicks. We both picked Thunder. Then it was the Wizards versus Celtics. Wizards are not doing that good, so we're picking Celtics. Then it's the Hornets versus Pelicans. Paul picked Hornets. I picked Pelicans. Then it was the Bucks versus Jazz. We both picked the Bucks to win. Then it was the Nets versus Grizzlies. Paul picked Nets. I picked Grizzlies. Then it was the Rockets versus Magic. We both picked Rockets to win. Then it was the Clippers versus the Warriors. We both picked Clippers for the win. Then it was the Lakers versus Bulls. We both picked Lakers. And then 76ers versus Nuggets. Paul picked 76ers. I'm going to go with the Nuggets. Then it was the Heat versus Wizards. Again, Wizards are not playing that good, so we both picked the Heat. Then it was the Suns versus the Pacers. Again, Suns are playing awesome right now. We're going to pick the Suns on that one. Then it was the Hawks versus the Hornets. We're going to pick both Hawks again. Then it was the Spurs versus Wolves. We both picked Spurs, way better team. Then it was the Bucks versus Cavs. We picked the Bucks. Then it was the what's it called? Magic versus Mavs. We both picked the Mavs over the Magic. Then it was the Blazers. We both picked over to win the Kings. Then it was the Jazz. We both picked to win over the Pistons. Then it was Clippers we both picked the Clippers for winning over the Bulls. Then it was the Nuggets versus Knicks. We both picked the Nuggets to win over the Knicks because they're getting sneaky wins, but I don't think they're gonna last. Then it was the Nets to win. Paul picked the Nets. I picked the Thunder to win on that game. Then it was the Heat versus Celtics. So Paul picked the Heat. I picked the Celtics. Then it was the Rockets versus Lakers. Paul picked the Rockets. I picked the Lakers. Then it was the Spurs versus Wolves again. We both picked Spurs. Then it was the Toronto Raptors versus the Warriors. We both picked the Raptors. Then it was the Bucks versus Magic. We both picked Bucks again. Then it was Grizzlies versus Cavs. We both picked the Grizzlies to win over the Cavs. Then after that was Suns versus Wizards. Again, Wizards are not doing that good, but Suns are actually doing good. So we picked the Suns. Then it was the Hawks versus the Hornets. Paul picked the Hornets. I picked the Hawks. Then the 76ers versus the Hawks. Paul picked 76ers. I picked the Hawks. Then it was the Pelicans versus Mavericks. Paul picked Mavericks. I picked the Pelicans. Then after that, Raptors versus Blazers. Paul picked the Raptors. I'm picking the Blazers. Our next games are from the Heat versus 76ers. So the set, we both picked the Heat to win over the 76ers. Then it was the Nugget Nets game. Paul picked the Nets. I picked the Nuggets. Then we both picked Jazz to win over the Cavs. Then we both picked Spurs to win over the Thunder. We both picked Lakers to win over the Rockets. Then it was Bulls and Celtics. Paul picked the Bulls. I picked the Celtics. And finally, the final pick, Pacers and Warriors. We both picked the Warriors. And now for the recap for the last NFL week, we send it back to Paul. So where is that? Let's see here. That's the new week. There you go.
So
The last week of NBA, NFL. Sorry.
Vikings beat the Lions 37-35. The Bucks beat the Falcons 49-27. The Jets lost to the Pats 28-14. The Bills beat the Dolphins 56-26. Browns won 24-22. Cowboys lost 23-19. Ravens won 38-3. Colts won 28-14. Titans won 41-38. The Rams won 18-7. Saints won 33-7. Packers won 35-16. Chiefs lost 38-21. Seahawks won 26-23. Raiders won 32-31. And Eagles lost 20-14.
All right. So now we're gonna do our picks for the playoffs now in NFL playoffs. So Paul and I picked Bills to win over the Colts because of Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills defense. They're doing awesome.
I picked this. We both picked the Seahawks.
Yeah, and because of Russell Wilson, and he has great wide receivers, and
We both picked the Bucks versus Washington because Brady in the playoffs.
he's always up for the show.
Yeah, Ravens versus Titans. We both picked Ravens.
Yeah.
And then the Saints versus the Bears. Both picked Saints.
Yeah. Even though they don't have a good quarterback, the offense is still fire.
Yeah. And the
The only difference of that week was Browns versus Steelers. Paul picked Browns, I picked Steelers.
even though the Browns have a couple of COVID problems, but the Browns are still a good team.
Yeah. So I'm picking the Steelers because it was so close a game last week.
Yeah.
It's gonna be another close game for sure.
Okay.
All right. So this is the picks from the 6. This is Jose, Paul. Catch you later. See you next week. Thanks for staying by.
Okay.
See you.